Hello, everyone. There are things that happen in Nigeria. If you were not Nigeria, there's no how you're going to believe that these are real. It's crazy the kind of things that we see again and again and again in our country. Parallel Facts is reporting nutrition supplements stolen, replaced with stones in Sokoto State. UNICEF alleges. The other time it was there in 2017, Professor Yemi Osinbajo was the acting president, and Saudi Arabia sent dates, debino, to Nigeria for it to be shared amongst people that were in IDP camps. Guess what happened? They sold the dates. The Refugee Commission was the one that was in charge of those dates, and the Saudi, ambassador will go to Friday Mosque, the National Mosque, and he saw the dates that they had brought into Nigeria to be shared to people who were living in IDP camp for free. They were being sold in the mosque, and if they raised it up, at the end of the day, Nigeria under Professor Yemi Osinbajo had to apologize to Saudi Arabia for that corruption that happened. Guess what happened? That was in 2017. By 2019, the person who was in charge of the commission, the Refugee Commission, that dates were stolen under them, that person was rewarded with a ministerial appointment, and that's Sadia Farouk, who was given the Ministry of Humanitarian Services or something. And guess what happened? Billions of naira went missing, and even today she has case. EFCC are going after and all of that. What am I saying? Some of these things that happen, honestly, if you are not Nigerian, there's no how you're going to believe them. And that's what we keep saying every time. The audacity just keeps increasing. People doing more and more and more, because at the end of the day, they know that there is no punishment for bad behavior. So sometimes it is you who is doing the right thing in Nigeria that is constantly being punished, constantly being shamed, constantly being attacked, constantly being maligned. And that's what we have. But anyway, this is coming from Sokoto. It says the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, has lamented that nutrition supplements meant for malnourished children in some communities in Sokoto State are being stolen and sold in the market. UNICEF Chief of Field Office in charge of Sokoto, Kebbi, and Zamfara State, Mr. Michael Juma, expressed concerns over the theft of the items during the quarterly policymakers meeting on Wednesday in Sokoto. Juma, who was represented by Mr. Abraham Mahama, noted that the nutrition supplements were provided by donors and distributed to healthcare centers in different communities aimed at enhancing the lives of malnourished children. He lamented that some bad elements in the system connive with traders and engage in selling the supplements to unintended persons. He stressed that the supplements were openly sold in markets while on investigation at the designated stores, UNICEF discovered that personnel stocked cartons of supplements with stones and other objects to cover their nefarious acts. Juma urged community members and stakeholders in the healthcare sector to intensify vigilance against diversion of prepared nutrition supplements in the state. He further urged Sokoto government to join other states in appointing state statistician general that will fast-track data collection, prudence, preservation, and dissemination in line with modern trends. Something that is meant for malnourished children. Nigeria has over 2.2 million children who are battling malnourishment. UNICEF even had to set a fund where they are using to raise money for children who are starving. And yet, the supplements that are brought in from these children, some people will steal them, take them to market and say they fill them with stones. How low can people get? How low can people be? It's unbelievable the kind of things that we just keep allowing to happen in our country. All of this happened because there's no, like I said earlier, there's no no punishment for bad behavior. They do this thing, they get away with it, and they continue to do it. Their contemporaries who are in that same office who have refused to partake in all of these things are the ones who most times are being shamed They will be called all sorts of names. They will be said that they are not smart. They don't do the right thing. Even when they leave, even the people in the society sometimes mock them and abuse them. And you hear something like, oh, after all the time you spent, see what your mates were doing, you couldn't do anything. For how long are we going to continue to live in such a debasing as a society? That's why even today, most of our politicians, people can't talk to them. Why? Because they paid people. Even with politics, when it comes to vote, people will say to, oh, you must pay us before we vote for you. And they pay. They use money. That's why when they get into offices, they don't care about the people. And whatever I've said to some people, I said, no matter how much you cost them, the cost will not affect them. Why? Because they paid you, you collected money. So people that collected money from them, what are they going to do to them to say what? And this thing keeps going on and on and on and on and on again. For how long are we going to stay like this? For how long are we going to keep doing all of these bad things? Our social, values are gone. There was a time where someone will have something and the person will be shamed. Why? Because they didn't get it in a legal means. Now you even have with mothers who have parents who have association of parents of 419ers. Yes, they even have schools where they teach people how to do 419. It's almost like a thing of a pride. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm a Yahoo person. That's how debased the society has become. And that's why we find ourselves today where things are just not working, where everything is upside down. And then the worst part of it is how religious we tend to be. Everything is about religious competition. Oh, the person you go and pray because you pray 5 times a day and go and be stealing supplements meant for children and fill it with stones. Even the devil will be ashamed of such acts. But unfortunately, these are the things that we see in our country. We put ourselves constantly in a bad light. Constantly. Some people just keep putting us in bad light. And yet the society doesn't do anything. There are no laws. Even where there are laws, there are no rules of laws. So people can do anyhow, behave anyhow, do whatever it is that they want to do. It's actually a shame, honestly. It's actually a shame. And if we want a country that works for every one of us, things like this must be punished. Things like this must not be taken lightly. And things like this must not be justified. Because the biggest problem that we seem to have is that justification. People sit down and justify anything. And that's how people get away with it. Oh, yes, after all, this one, is it the only one? Oh, this could have happened, that could happen. No. A crime is a crime, even if you are the one that committed it. A crime is a crime, even if it's your town person that committed it. A crime is a crime, even if it's someone from your own religion that committed it. And we must stop all of these things. We must begin to build a nation where there's integrity, where there's values, where there are character, where there's rule of law, where there's patriotism, where the right thing is done, where people are not thinking about religiosity, but there's godliness, there's real fear of God, not just the mere saying of God and all of that. It's really sad that this is where we are. The one thing that I believe in is that this country will fix it by the grace of God, and we'll have a great, amazing country. Thank you so much for watching.